Yes, good morning, good morning, good morning. Before we get started, I just want to check, can you hear me? I have had all sorts of mic problems this morning. Can you please just confirm, somebody give it a thumbs up. It is 10:09 in the UK. Someone could just give me the thumbs up that you can hear me before I start. That would be absolutely amazing. Just a few. Yeah. Okay, cool. Good. Yes, perfect. Naughty Mike was not doing its thing. Mike being the microphone, not somebody called Mike. Big up. How are we all? On a day, in a time where PSG are schooling everyone, PSG are showing the world how to play complete football and dominating. Who cares? Because Tottenham signed Mohamed KUDUS. And the West Ham fans, they all told me, it's going to cost you 70. It's going to cost you 75. We won't do business with Tottenham. The Spurs fans told me, just pay 10 million more. The Spurs fans told me that Daniel Levy wouldn't get this deal over the line. Hey, we've all got some of it right. We all got some of it wrong. But here we are sitting on a very happy Thursday, knowing that Mohamed KUDUS is going to be having a medical this morning or this afternoon, at Tottenham Hotspur. This is very, very exciting for Tottenham Hotspur. I'm already seeing, it's crazy. I'm already seeing people writing him off. The same people writing off Frank before he's done anything. People have written off KUDUS before he's even stepped foot on a football pitch. It's crazy. It's utterly crazy. I'm very excited. You all know my feelings on this. You all know my feelings on KUDUS. I think he's absolutely something that we have not got at this club. For me, he goes in and automatically is our best technical player, our most skillful player, and he can beat a man. We have no one in this squad, no one who can beat a man. It's embarrassing. So I am very, very happy. My comments this morning, as you know, I wake up to a lot of comments. So many saying average, doesn't move the needle, not what we needed, poor signing, sums up Levy. I'm sitting there going, I don't know what we want. I don't know what we want as a fan base. It's almost like anyone that we go to sign now, we're going to find something wrong with it. Then I'm seeing people responding to my Vissa video. Don't want him. He's like Solanke. And I'm like, in what world is this guy like Solanke? Watch them play. Sometimes watch them play. This guy is a finisher. This guy gets through on goal. This guy has pace. This guy is a fox in a box. He takes players away. He's got good movement. And it's almost like we try and self-sabotage before anything good has happened. Hey, we'll get into it. And I'll get in trouble by Perchy if I don't say this. Here we go. Perchy said to me this morning, many things, but Perchy said to me, I'm expecting a shout out on your stream for being the only one not to panic about Mohamed KUDUS coming to Spurs. Hashtag in Perch we trust. There we go. In Perchy we trust everybody. To be fair, he's been saying, yeah, calm. And what I do like about Perchy, he's got a very level-headed nature about him when it comes to transfers. Hey, that's as nice as I'm going to be. It's as nice as I'm going to be to Perchy. Now we can slag him off for a little bit. Just kidding. We're not going to do that at all. So there's lots of people. Yeah, there were people yesterday in my chat saying, well, he's going to have to fight with Brennan Johnson for the right wing. And I'm like, really? Really? Are we doing this? Are we doing this? We think that he's going to have to compete with Brennan Johnson for a position in the Spurs 11. Let's have a look, shall we? So this is what Fabrizio Romano said this morning. And we all knew this anyway. This isn't breaking news. We all knew this. Said that KUDUS will complete his medical at Tottenham today. Plan confirmed. Spurs and West Ham have now started also to exchange documents after deal agreed. And it's funny because as I speak right now, Sky Sports News are showing the clip of him pushing Van der Ven, Richarlison and Papa Sarr. So welcome to Spurs, Mohamed Kudus. Welcome to Tottenham Hotspur. So yeah, listen, 55 million to be paid in 3 years. So it's less than 20 million a year for a player of this quality. I listen, hats off to Daniel Levy. It's a great deal for me. A lot of people, listen, we all doubt him all the time. All of us, like this, me, you, we all doubt him all the time. But that's a great signing. Now, obviously, can we kick on? I know, we've got to enjoy the moment. Absolutely. But can we kick on? Can we kick on from this? Can we now go and get what else we need? Lots of people saying it's a number 6. People saying it's a centre mid in some guise, some form. There are a lot of people desperately want a striker, some want a left back, some want a centre half. But it's interesting, right? Because I said all last year, and I know that a lot of the people that were very much Ange fans, oh, the squad's crap, the squad's terrible, the squad, what do you expect to do? We can't go up the league. This is not a top 10 squad. And I always said, sorry, I don't buy into that. I don't buy into that theory. I think that this was a decent squad that should have been capable of qualifying for Europe through the league, but with a couple of additions could be a very good squad. Now, not title winners. I'm not one of those fans, but these are the sort of players where I think, yes, that is the next level. We're here. This is there. Now we need a few more that go in there, right? We need a few more that go in there. Now, all of a sudden, your first 11 is looking a lot healthier, isn't it? Now, all of a sudden, you've got an 11 where you go, I don't mind this. I don't mind this at all. But we do have fans that don't want this. They don't want this signing. I didn't want it from the start. For me, I think this is utterly craziness. But look, we're going to play around. We've got the old foot mob lineup. We'll play around with it and we'll see what we think he might do. I think it's going to very much be a 4-2-3-1. That is what he was playing more often than not last season at Brentford. So we'll play around with that a little bit later and see where does Kudus fit in? Where else are the problematic areas? I actually think if you look at the back four, whilst, don't get me wrong, every position at every football club can always be upgraded. There are very few players you can upgrade on, i.e., I don't think Liverpool can upgrade on Virgil van Dijk. I just don't. I don't think that Man City can upgrade on Rodri. Right? There are very, very few where you can't upgrade. But what I do think is we've got a good enough platform to build on. Do we need more signings? Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, because I've said Frank is a coach doesn't mean I don't want signings. But I do think we've got a good platform to build on. I do think that a lot of these players are not as bad as what we were seeing. And I have said, and I'll say it again, unfortunately, the last manager was that bad that I think a lot of players look poor. Solanke, never been his biggest fan. I don't think he's as poor as we saw. Kulusevski, Sarr. I mean, maybe Sarr's hit a point where he can't get any better, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that from where he was. I don't believe that in the last 2 years he's received coaching on how to play as a midfielder and how to develop and how to be better. So I'm expecting 2 more to come in. I am. I think we've got to be very, very realistic about this. I don't think it's just going to be gung-ho 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think it's going to be that. I do expect, though, a minimum of one more one more first teamer, preferably 2. And then I think you'll see a couple of what we normally do. I don't expect that that's 100% going to change. I can't believe that there's been a 180 so drastically in the space of a few months. But I do expect that we will see a couple more players of that level. Vissa, the links are growing stronger and stronger in the last 24 hours. For me, walks into the team. for me, absolutely walks into the team, whether or not that's on the left side, whether that's through the middle instead of Solanke. Another one who's been coached, he's developed, he's got better and better as the years go. And I do believe that he's another one that takes us from there to there. Now, there. That's not me going, oh my God, we're going to challenge Liverpool and City and Arsenal. No. That's not what this season is about. For me, this season is about building a team, letting the manager consolidate. There's going to be some ups and downs. Please don't get me wrong. It's going to be like that. There's going to be some games where we probably look all at sea while we get used to his system. There's going to be some games where it clicks and we look amazing. But the proof of the pudding is, as the season goes on, are we seeing those signs slowly but surely, rather than that? That's the sign for me. Now, I would expect, only before we go back to KUDUS and Visser, etc., I would expect that at the moment, with the squad we've got, I would expect us to be challenging for that top 7. I think where we're at, I would be expecting us to challenge for that top 7, be in that top 7, no lower than 7th. At the moment. However, a couple more signings, depending who they are, suddenly it all looks a little bit better. Now, yeah, I mean, we're saying he needs to start well. You've got to remember, he's just picked them up. He's got very little time to get this sorted. Spurs play PSG in 34 days. Like, you've got to remember, this is, I don't think, for me, it's not about starting well. For me, it's about how do we develop? Look how we started under Ange. Everyone lost their minds. Look how many people suddenly became, we're in a title race. And you're like, no, stop. Oh, get on board. No. It's not about getting on board anything. So for me, this isn't about how he starts in month 1. This is about how we develop over time. And I know football fans don't want that logic. What happens if he finishes 9th and no trophies? Then we build and we keep going and we get better and better and better. I don't think he will finish 9th, but we build and we get better and better and better. You're not going to do what Daniel Levy's just done and then sack him in a year. Like, he's literally just paid nearly £20 million to sack the manager and bring in a new manager and all his coaching staff. Just under 20 million, I believe the fee was. So you're not gonna go, oh my God, finish 9th, right, next one in. What you are gonna do is say, what happened in the season? Have we got better as time's gone on? But by the way, it's a very negative way to start looking at this, isn't it? I think we'll be fine. I think that I really like this guy. I really like this manager. I've said this. I don't know how many times I can say this. I really like this manager. Said it for years. Big fan of Thomas Frank. I think he's done such a great job that everybody's overlooking because of the fans that go, what's he won? Such a limited way of thinking. It's so binary. What's he won? Well, he's been at Brentford. What was he meant to win at Brentford? But look, are we going to catch up immediately to those above us? Well, it depends on the term, doesn't it? Above us. Because at the moment, as I said, the last manager was so shit that we got 16 teams above us. Now, I automatically don't look at the 5 or 6 above us. I think we jump straight into the top half. I do. Question's going to be, how good are we going to be? Are we going to be at City, Liverpool, Arsenal level? I don't think so. I think it's way too soon, way too early. Their squads are superior. Are we going to catch Chelsea? I don't think so. I think they've got a lot of depth. I think they've got some top footballers in their team. When you look at Lavia, Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Cole Palmer, Yao Pedro, I think Cucurella is a top fullback. I think Reece James is. Yeah, they've got areas they need to strengthen, and they probably will. But a good squad of players. For me, they're they're the next level down to the other three. I expect that Chelsea will be there or thereabouts for a lot of the year, but I don't think they'll have enough to take it from here to there. Oh, Stanley, mummy's home. Sorry, the front door just went and Stanley didn't react. And normally when your dog doesn't react, you're like, are they asleep or are they deaf or what's going on? So I fully expect that we will be much better. I fully expect that. I fully expect we'll see a team that are drilled at set pieces, a team that are drilled at the back, a team that are drilled in transition, and a team where there's not the excuses that the fans that couldn't get past Ange needed to make week in, week out for what was essentially awful management. So I'm expecting a much better year, and I think KUDUS really starts that off for me. Now, there are people doubting him. There are people saying, oh, they're not sure. Listen, watched him for years at Ajax. In his first year at West Ham, this is such a talented footballer. This is such a talented footballer. And if we're going to look at last season wasn't his greatest, sure. But that's not his only season, is it? You know, this isn't his only season. This is a guy that wants to play off the right more often than not. Didn't really a lot last season. This is a guy that was in a very underwhelming West Ham team. This was a guy that played in a team where they didn't really have a striker for him to assist. So I think that for me, yeah, of course, this year's got to be better for him than next year, right? Of course, this year's got to be better for him than next year. But I'm not going to sit and go, oh, underwhelming last year. Don't buy him. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to praise Daniel Levy. I'm going to praise him because we give him a lot of stick, guys and girls. We do. And rightly so. Rightly so, we give him a lot of stick. But also, I think if you're going to give someone stick, you've got to give them praise at the same time. Everyone said he'll low ball. He won't get the deal done. This man's gone and got a deal done at 55 million for a guy who's got a release clause of 85. And we were told by all the ITKs that he wouldn't be allowed to leave for less than 70. This guy's got a deal done at the same price as Newcastle Alanga. So, for example, when my mate Matt popped on the other day, going, oh, look at Newcastle, they can get Alanga done. We can't get KUDUS done. Well, we did. We did get it done for the same price. We did for the same price. So there's got to be that praise. Now, what Daniel Levy needs to do is kick on. And I think we will. I think we might see, listen, it might not be Visser. I think we might see a couple of players of that caliber. I can't disagree more with you. Look at our wingers. How does this guy not move the needle? Have you been watching our wingers? We've got some of the worst wingers in the league, and we think that this guy doesn't move the needle. I'm Ian, big up, love you, dude, but I'm baffled. I'm truly baffled by it. Big up to Rodney Roberts, my man, my South London buddy. Boom to the South Londoners. Big up Rodney with a £5 super chat. As said, big up Savva and chat. Big up to you, Rodney. I hope you're well, my man. He said, I haven't read it yet, but it says, don't crucify me in brackets. I love this. Don't crucify me. But would you take Jordan Henderson as a bit part player? He's a free agent just for stability and experience. Now, this is an interesting one because Perchy and I were having this conversation this morning about, and listen, I don't think we are, so relax, and I'm not going to crucify you. I only crucify trolls. Rodney, you're not a troll. You're one of my boys. I think he's going to Sunderland. I think he's going to go to Sunderland, and he is going to be the captain of Sunderland Football Club. It makes sense. They're back in the Premier League. He's a Sunderland lad. Where best to end his career than at Sunderland? But what I do think is I wouldn't be averse to somebody like this. I'm not saying Jordan Henderson per se. I wouldn't be averse to somebody like this with a bit of experience. And if I can move your question a tiny bit, Rodney, to say that I wanted Norgard for that experience. I wanted somebody like that, just with a calm head on the shoulders, who's been there, seen it, done it. Now, I don't want Henderson per se, but somebody of that ilk, it's not a terrible idea to me. Not Henderson for me, but somebody of that ilk, I think, brings that calm, that composure, and they're a leader, Rodney. And I think we've all talked about it before, haven't we? That he's a leader. So look, absolutely big up to you. We'll see. I think he's got Sunderland written all over him, if I'm honest. And again, look at the absolute listen, Matt came on the other day. Fair play to him for coming on, but how on earth are Chelsea bang average? I mean, this is utterly criminal. This is how we know he's a troll. He came on, but he's still a troll. Big up to you, troll. Hope you're well. Good morning to Ben Kaufman. Oh my God, here he is. It is the mod father, as he likes to call himself. Big up to you, Ben. Said, morning, everyone. Fantastic signing. Now get me Visser and Sander Berg. 2 signings like that would be perfect for me. 2 solid Premier League players that come in. I think Sander Berg is a very, very underrated midfielder, Ben. I think we talked about this last summer. He gets a lot of stick because he's not got the sexy name. He's not got the sexy name. And he's not played for sexy clubs. But for me, this is a real man. This is a leader in midfield. This is a physical presence in midfield that's needed. So it doesn't have to be Sander Berg, but yes, somebody again like that ilk. But Visser, I think, is a no-brainer. There are a lot of people who have messaged me in the last 24 hours saying, I didn't know a lot about Visser. I've watched some videos. Yeah, he's a really good finisher, great movement, gets in the box. He's got pace. He's clinical. And for me, I think it's a no-brainer. Just the Thomas Frank factor that he brought him in and did that. So for me, yeah, absolutely. Big up, Ben. Let's have a look here. So big up Rodney for that. And my man, Andy Lester, who I met yesterday on the members only show. Big up to you, Andy. Hope you... I know you had to go back into work halfway through, so I hope you're well. Hope that work wasn't too bad. And as I said, don't ever get a YouTube channel for a living. It's a graft. It's a real grind. Trust me. Andy has said, finally over the line. Bang. All aboard the Frank train. The sort of player a club like us should be signing. Good to see you yesterday. Let's hope for a few more decent in and out. And that is exactly how I feel about it, Andy. That's exactly how I feel about it. It is a good signing. And I do hope for a few more in and out. And I'll tell you what I like about it. And thank you for the super chat. Very generous. What I liked about it was we're sitting there yesterday. Like, don't lie now, you lot. I won't lie. I'm going to tell you the truth about me now. You don't lie in the chat. We all sat there, right, yesterday when the news came through that Tottenham are looking at bringing in Johan Visser. And I think we all sat there and went, oh, well, that means the KUDUS deal is off. 2 hours later, the KUDUS deal is done. And then you're hearing, well, hang on, that's got nothing to do with Visser. Now, it might not be Visser that comes in, but I like that we're looking at players like that. A player that the manager knows, a goal scorer. I like that. So, for me, are we moving different? Time will tell. One signing obviously doesn't change everything, but a couple of signings can. A couple of signings can really change it. And Perchi and I were talking this morning about, we were talking about the 11. We were talking about what 2 or 3 players do to this 11 to make it a good team. Not a great team, but a good team, a structured team, an organized team. And I'm going to bring that up in a minute and we'll build a team together. We'll all build a team together. Why not? Be good fun. We'll have a laugh. Good morning to my man, Neil Lambert. How you doing, Neil? Said, morning, Savva. Congratulations on the 19,000. Oh, no, hang on. He's too cool for that. He said 19,000. Oh, thou. Are you posh, Neil? Or are you just couldn't be bothered to write the word 1,000? Mummy and daddy, 19,000 they gave me for a car. Big up to you, Neil. As said, chuffed we got KUDUS. There you go. I thought it was posh and then he used the word chuffed. Chuffed we got KUDUS. He skins players. Something we've been begging for. Absolutely. I think a lot of these people that are doubting Mohamed KUDUS, when they start seeing him roast players, when they start seeing him beat a man and set his teammates up and have shots at goal and score goals, I think we're going to start seeing a few people saying, oh, that will change. Oh, hang on. We've got Lubo and Danny both want to come on. Hey, let's get Lubo on and roast the life out of him because his favorite Daniel Levy has done something good. So let me just send them the link, guys. My wife is working in the room with me, so she's going to love this. She's going to love that we're going to about to have people talking, aren't you? She's just ignoring me. She's just ignoring me. She's zoning out. Okay. Here we go. Invite guests. Copy. Let me send this to Danny. No doubt Danny's probably just woken up because this boy sleeps for fun. And I'm going to send it to Lubo as well. Where are we? With Lubo, you always have to email it. I love Lubo so much. He's like my YouTube dad. He tells me off. I'm too rude to people. He rings me up and he says, can't do that. Can't speak to people like and then if I'm wrong, I say I agree. And if I'm right, I go, no, I did it, doing it anyway, Lubo. Anyway, we'll wait for them to come on. While we're waiting for them to come on, you absolute frauds in the chat. 138 likes, 560 people. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. We're looking for Harry Kane type ratios here, please. So please smash that like button. And thank you to everyone. Just a quick heartfelt thank you to everyone. We have gone over 19K. We did go over 19K by quite some way yesterday. So thank you very much. And now the banner is going across the bottom of the screen, which says road to 20K. It's been there since 17K. And now it actually makes sense. So big up to each and every one of you. Let's get to some more comments, shall we? Big up to my man Matt has said, I was nervous coming on, but big up, mate. 1-0 to me. What, Matt? 1-0 to you. You're always welcome on, Matt, because you were funny. I'll give you that. And what I will say, Matt, is to be fair, you're a good sport. I call you a troll. You say absolute nonsense in the chat and you come back every day. I love it. And just the fact that you said Harry Kane's the greatest striker the Premier League's ever seen means you could never have won 1-0, mate. Listen, loved Harry Kane. Nowhere near the greatest striker I've ever seen. Big up to you, Matt. Thank you for the super chat either way, my friend. Thank you very much. Tom Witten, good morning to you, Tom, or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are, mate, has said, I think Sonny stays and Richie goes. Yeah, listen, what we do know is that we've got KUDUS through the door. If you then get somebody like a Visser through the door, you are going to have to start letting a few go because we have got a lot of footballers. We might not have the greatest depth, but we have got a lot of footballers. James Tia said, why is it that these days every player who's 17, 18 are dubbed as the second coming of Maradona? Blame Lubo when he arrives. Yeah, I agree. Listen, there are some young players, some kids that you look at and you go, you're ridiculously good. I mean, Lamine Yamal is one of the best players in the world and he's 17 years of age. You know, that we all look at him and go, that is naughty. Like, he's not real. Lionel Messi was the same. I think Doué of PSG is the same. But we do it with every 18-year-old, don't we now? Every 17, 18-year-old, everyone talks about ceilings when they've got no idea what a player's ceiling is. It's a buzzword. It's a buzzword that sounds nice. Oh, he's got a big ceiling. Do you know what I mean? He's got a big ceiling. Well, we don't know when a player's reached their ceiling. It all depends on the coaches. And that is what it is. Here's another troll, Mappin. I love Mappin. So Mappin says, Matt is your channel member. How can you call him a troll? He's my channel member because he was gifted a membership, my friend. He didn't pay to become a member. But Mappin, we know you're a troll. We love you for it, but we all know you're a troll. Welcome. I like you being in here, Mappin. Just so you know, when you have a pop at me, you're paying me. So thank you for paying my wages. Love you long time. Thank you very much, Mappin. Welcome to everybody in the chat as well. Let me see. There's a lot of comments. I'll try to get to as many as possible. You know I will. I like to pride myself on being one of the only YouTubers that will do this. I will go through all the comments that I can. Sam, big up to Sam. You must be starting to get a little bit nervous. Man United haven't really kicked on from the Cunha signing, and obviously Cunha's a great player, but I'll eat my words on this though. If you do get Mbuemo, then it's all very different, but it's stalled very much, hasn't it? And I just wonder whether or not you've got the money. But yes, to your point, I do think that Visser is much better than Solanke at everything. Yes, I do. isn't 10 our biggest problem now? I would say that 10 isn't a problem for Spurs at all. We've got KUDUS and James Maddison that can both play in there. So I don't think 10 is a problem for Tottenham in any way, shape, or form, my man. I really don't. Noel, good morning, Noel. I said we need to concentrate on getting probably more out than in, focus on quality. Yeah, I think that with a lot of the outgoings, they tend to happen a bit later in the window for Spurs, don't they? But we'll see. I don't disagree with you, Noel. I think we've got a bloated squad. And I think we need to get players out. And welcome to the show, Mr. Dan E. Dan, are you still in? Are you still in Blackpool?
Yes, I am. Unfortunately,
Are you in the
I want to go.
Spiders?
Yeah.
Oh.
Who's that one down there? He's gone.
Have you taken one of the tarantulas out yet and held it?
No, the size. I ain't bothered about spiders and that yet, but the size of these ones are a bit. Let's just say they're a bit different. I mean, if I can find the picture on it quickly.
I feel like I want to see one on screen, but I think I might also shit myself.
I've just sent you the picture of it.
Right, let's have a look at this. So you're sitting in a room with this spot.
Well, 3 others and a snake. I mean, snakes and that don't bother me. Got my own snakes and that, but this spider, I must admit, he's got a bit of intimidation on him. I mean, from Blackpool now, I just want to get home and get back to my own bed. You know, where you're just comfortable with your own bed. I mean, these tarantulas that they got here, they really ain't small.
Yeah. Okay, guys and girls in the chat, can you just let me know if you lost me there and if I'm back?
Yeah, you're back. I think you might have froze there for a second. It said, when I come on here, it said there's a little issue going on with YouTube.
There we go.
Sure whether you was looking at something or just froze for a moment.
By the way, guys, this is the picture Dan just sent me. Look at that. That is, oh my God, look how much hair is on his, no, Dan, why are you in that room? Get out of there, mate. They are, no.
Big old thing, isn't it? It's about that big. It's bigger than my bloody hands.
No, I'm not liking that at all. Dan, welcome, mate. Welcome. So we haven't really spoke. Mohamed Kudus is through the door doing a medical at Tottenham. And I'm going to say to you, the first thing I'm going to ask Lubo as well, just to wind him up and piss him off. Credit to Daniel Levy for getting a deal done that many said he couldn't, and said that we wouldn't be able to do business with Sullivan at West Ham. He's done it.
Yeah, he's got the job done. I mean, in some ways, you look at it, got it done at a respectable pace. Yes, we was all started questioning the pace of what he was getting it done, because, you know, we usually do things, we always end up just dragging it on and on and on. But then if you step back now that we've got him and actually look at the time it took, not too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to give an honest opinion there, he wasn't my first pick. I mean, Eze is the one that I really want and have done for 2 years, but I suppose that's a different type of player. Would I have picked Embremar over him? Yes, I would. But I am definitely not complaining about this in any means or manner. Just because he's not my first choice player doesn't mean he's a player I don't rate. I think he's a player that's got pretty much everything we need up the side. He's an actual winger.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing he's definitely got about him, he's got some flair in him. And that's one thing I don't find many players have these days. When that's especially where you want your winger to have a bit of flair in it. Your winger. He takes his man on. He can take his man on. He's got the physicality to do it. He can cross the ball good enough. He can pass it. He's got the bottle to try and take it round a couple of people, lose the ball, try and get it back, have a shot. I think he's leaps and bounds up from what we've got. Now, I'm not saying I think he's a quality player or nothing like that. I know people use the word quality in different levels, but I think he's a good player with a potential to become a very good player. And then who knows from there. and he's significantly better than what we got. And at modern prices, 55 million. If I'm going to be honest, I think that's a bit of a steal, really.
Yeah.
Because
No, agreed.
and I don't want to bring in a debate with it, but I have to relate to players. When you're paying 30 millions for Odeberts, 40 millions for Archie Grays, 50 millions for Johnson, 65 for Solanke, what was it, 60 mil for Richarlison, to me, this one seems like a bit of a no-brainer. I think it's a bit of a steal, personally.
Yeah, absolutely. Plusnet, Savva. Plusnet, isn't that the northern internet provider? Or are you trying to make a very clever joke on SpiderNet? I don't know. Never mind. No, Dan, listen, I completely agree with you. By the way, just some breaking news from Sky Sports. Sky Sports are saying that Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace are among the Premier League clubs looking at a deal for Man City's James McAtee. I'll be honest, I think that's a good little signing for somebody. I'd take him, but we'll talk about that a bit later. Yeah. So, yeah, Dan, I think the key thing here for me is you're right. When we actually look from the first moment we were linked with him to when the first moment we were told we've actually bid, it wasn't too bad. Like we all say it takes us months and months. From look, I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. The first thing we heard was that the first bid went in last Thursday or Friday, I believe. And then by Wednesday, we've got the here we go. So I can't guarantee it was 6 days, Dan, but you know, if we're looking at a week, 10 days, that's a bloody good hit rate for Sir Daniel Levy of Tottenham, isn't it?
Yeah, and the reason it dragged on, from what I've read on a couple of pages now, and they're usually quite reliable, these ones, is that the price hasn't changed after the second offer. It's basically the same price. It's just what you pay the excess in. I think, from what I've read, the 55 million's over 3 years, and I think there's an extra 10 million on top of it or something from what I've seen. Some say 8, some say 12, so I just round it off to 10. And the first offers we gave them was like, you get that excess money if we win the league and the Champions League.
Yeah.
Now, what club is going to be thick enough basically to accept that? Because you ain't getting your money. So, and what he had to basically turn it into was, okay, sort of like we finish Champions League and win an FA Cup or something along those lines. And that was what took the few days and a few offers to get something accepted. West Ham were desperate for money, and that's when you go for the kill, basically, as far as I'm concerned, like we should do in a few places in Italy. He got the job done. A good bit of business. I mean, if we'd have paid 65 for him, would anyone complain? I don't think so. Anything more, I think people start questioning it. But you got to give credit where credit's due. I just think a few people need to stop have such a hate focus on something that they ignore anything good that's done.
Yeah.
The positives outweigh the negatives, but come on, you've got to give it both sides. And he's done
absolutely. The comments I woke up to this morning, Dan, were hilarious. Like, you've got so many, don't get me wrong, you've got probably 70-80% of the comments were great deal, well done, blah, blah, blah. They're excited. But then you've got these selection of comments that are like, yeah, but I bet that's the only one Daniel does. And, oh, yeah, but you know, he only got it done because West Ham needed the money. And you're like, well, what do we want? Isn't that how every deal works? That every club wants the money for their player, and I just don't see the negative side of this. I really don't. I just don't get it.
I only won the lottery last night because I've done the tickets.
Yeah. I only won the lottery because I was lucky.
You know what I mean? It's just honestly, look, I ain't going to get in a chat about it and that. The negative totally outweighs the positive. On the football side, I want him gone. If I can keep him on the bloody business side of it, I'd employ him all day long. But look, people complain that this does not get done. People complain that he messes up on these sort of moves or don't go for them.
Yeah. Who
cares that he went for a weaker club and took their best player? Who cares that he went for a weaker club and basically destroyed the club, which, if I must admit, I always had a little bit of a soft spot for Brentford because of how they've done since they came up. Because at the end of the day, it's business. At the end of the day, it's a dog-eat-dog world. You don't get to the top here by being nice and that. So he's just gone and totally robbed the club for a good coach and his coaching staff. And then, okay, a couple of the buyers he brought in, can't really agree with that Tell one, no matter who we buy. I'm still not going to sit here and make Tell right as such. but we go and get another 2 good players in that first team, I think you can sort of push the tail one aside a little bit. And then he's just gone to West Ham, another club that's in trouble, took advantage of them and snapped their player up. Who's complaining? Really? What is there to complain about? But one way or another, there will always be someone who will... There's my third coffee. That'll wake me up. You'll always get someone...
Did you say your third coffee?
Yeah.
3?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Oh,
I need them to wake me up. Otherwise, I don't click into gear properly. It's all to do with the medication I have to take the night before.
Yeah.
It keeps you very...
You're not just sponsored by Nescafe or something. You've got
no.
I don't know. I don't drink coffee. I have no idea what's nice and what's not. It tastes disgusting. It smells disgusting. And anyone who likes coffee, I do judge though. By the way, I judge everyone that likes coffee. I judge their taste buds. Yeah.
I mean, I do have tea, but I have my herbal tea, and that's that. Normal tea is a bit bland for me. And look, everything he's gone and done is what we've been screaming we wanted to do. He's gone and done it. Okay, it didn't look too good with the start with like Tell, Danzo, which I've got no complaint about personally. But one way or another, even if he went out there and spent 100 million on a world-class player, whatever, and that, there will still be someone out there that will complain about it purely because Daniel Levy done it.
Yeah.
And if they keep doing this, just to put the last bit on that, you keep doing this, when people just see you're actually, to an extent, almost being narrow-minded on a hate sort of thing, I think that puts people who are on the fence of Levy out, Levy in. You look over at that side, and when they just can't acknowledge anything, it sort of gives you the attitude of that's more of a hate thing than anything, and it could stop people going over. But that's a whole different story. Yeah. Some people just need to be happy on the day sometimes.
No, absolutely. So I feel like I've lost a super chat. I'm looking at the revenue I've made versus the number of super chats I've got, and I can't make it add up. So bear with me. I'm just going to try and find them. Just quickly, I have found these two. Big up to Rob Welsh, who said, Danny, sponsored by Boss and Kenko. Dan's always wearing either Armani or Boss, isn't he? I love it. Dan's
Lacoste.
He's got Lacoste on today. Love it. Yeah, but what's the hat? Is that Boss?
Oh, Boss, yeah.
Yeah, you got a Boss hat, Lacoste. Look at him. He's like an OG. He's like an absolute... You look like you're in the film Dangerous Minds, Dan. You remember Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer?
Put it more like to the film Snatch, and you'll be closer to my life.
Snatch. You want to be a British gangster. Big up to the Kaufman. I'll come to you in a second, Ben, and we'll have a bone to pick with Ben about coffee, considering he owns a coffee shop and is sitting in his coffee shop right now. Big up to Rob. Thank you very much for that, my friend. Really appreciate you. Nige from Pure Coys, please get over and subscribe to Nige. Lovely guy. I believe he's coming to the barbecue as well, and he's signed off by saying, see you at the barbecue. So big up, Savva. I did my first ever live today, and it was terrifying. So I have a new appreciation for going solo. It's all about the chat. See you at the barbecue. Nige, big up, man. The more you do the lives, the more you just get used to it, man. You just get used to it. You're a great content creator. You talk well. And because of all the dates you go on, Nige, I know that you drive the women of wherever you are in the West Country wild. So, Nige, you got the face for it, the voice for it, and you're sexy as hell. So keep going, Nige. Big up to you, my man. Thank you very much. I feel like I've lost one. And I don't want to be that guy. Fan funding. Bear with me 1 second. Yes. Yeah, I have lost one. Sorry, I can't see it. I'm going to try and find it. Ben, while I do that, good morning to you, sir. How are you? How's the coffee shop? And what a lovely baseball cap you're wearing.
It's a great one. It's the usual time having a small business. One moment you're delighted, next moment you're going bankrupt, next moment you're happy, then you're going bankrupt again. Usual shit, really.
Good. And
most small businesses are almost bankrupt 7 times a day, so it's always a laugh. Yeah. But
big up.
It's iced coffee day, so yeah.
I don't get coffee. We'll talk about it in a minute, mate. We'll talk about coffee in a minute. Also, I've got a bone to pick with Dan and his wife, Beth, about the utterly disgusting sandwich choices they were putting into my chat the other day. Just absolutely atrocious human behavior. But big up to Paul. I did find your chat. Sorry, mate. For some reason, they normally drop into a saved inbox, but it didn't. It said, Savva, for me, Visser, if we get him, will be unbelievable. For Solanke, Visser knows Frank inside out, only benefits Dom. Big up, Dan E. Paul, first of all, thank you very much. As always, what a lovely dog you've got in that picture. Thank you for the super chat. Look, I'll ask the boys about this in a minute. I'll come back to this in 1 minute, Paul. So I'll leave this up there. But Ben, just before we get to Visser, and I'll come back to Paul's super chat. KUDUS, what's your initial thoughts on KUDUS and Daniel Levy getting it over the line? We all know you don't like him, but credit where it's due.
Credit where it's due. It's the first time we've bought a player from one of our traditional rivals in 10 odd years. We do need to be buying players off our rivals. Simple as that. We're supposedly a £1 billion empire. If West Ham have a really good player, and West Ham are down in the doldrums at the moment, which they are, even though they still finished above us, but European trophy and all that nonsense. If we're playing Champions League football and West Ham need a bit of money, let's improve ourselves by taking their best players. That's the way it is. There's a few West Ham players I would have. Of course, the elephant in the room that we'll never be able to buy because of his father-in-law and because I think he would go to a bigger club than Tottenham is a Jared Bowen. I'd love to have a Jared Bowen at Spurs, but it cost 120 million to get him out of West Ham, in my opinion, if we were to try and do a deal. Really good signing, bit of excitement, someone on that right wing that's going to take players on, get you off your seat. And that's what we all watch football to be entertained at the end of the day. It's an entertainment business, and KUDUS gets you off your seat. And he's a bit of a live wire, which is what we need. We need a few more players with a bit of aggression, because we're certainly lacking that.
No, absolutely. And big up to Lubo. Look at Lubo streaming from outside his hotel. Is this a chalet you've got, or a villa, or what's going on here?
It's a house.
It's a house. Well, it looks
I was hoping he was going to say it's a green screen.
Lubo's not really in Portugal. He's sitting in his house in London, isn't he? Lubo, good. What's the time there? Just coming up to midday. You and
same. We're on the same time zone as London.
Okay, so good morning. My first question to you is going to be: are you enjoying your Portuguese holiday?
Very much, thank you. Very chilled.
Good. Second question is: why have you not bothered to tan? Why are you still pale? What's going on?
I'm very shadowed at the moment. You can't actually see the tan properly.
You've got a tint of Arsenal on you. You've got a little tint of red going on over your face. Don't worry about it. Lubo, you bugger off on holiday with the wife and the kids, and Tottenham decide to buy a footballer. So thank you for disappearing.
That's okay. That's a pleasure. I'll disappear more often if I'll go on holiday till September the 1st, if that's what it takes.
Yes, please.
Come on,
yes,
Ian.
please.
Ian, just say it. Daniel Levy done a brilliant job. Come on, man. Just say it.
He's started already.
Listen, negotiating and screwing people into the ground is his strength, isn't it? So well done, Daniel. You've resorted to type. I think what did also help, I was reading that West Ham have a £42 million loan taken out a year ago. It was a 12-month loan that has to be paid off next week. And I think that probably helped. Yeah. So, when he went up to 55 and West Ham said 65 and he said no, and then they said 65 again and he said no again. And the third time, I think after he said no, they just gave up and said, okay, they looked at it pragmatically. They need the money, if this report is correct. And the money's coming in and, they've got that X amount. I think it's over 3 payments. So if you've got 18, 19 million for the first payment, or 20 million, say, for the first payment, then that goes some way towards a £42 million loan repayment. So, West Ham are happy with that.
Just say it.
And Spurs are happy with 55 million.
Just
So a
say it.
shrewd bit of business from a good businessman.
I hope so. No, not a great businessman. Sorry, Dan. You've gone too far there, mate. It was a good bit of business from someone who's cost Spurs a fortune over the years. So let's leave it at that.
Let me just ask. Listen, by the way, Paul, I've not forgotten your super chat. I'm just going to bring it back up when we get to Johan Visser. Otherwise, I'll be all over the place. By the way, I just want to say this comment. This did make me laugh. It said, "If you can't drink coffee, you're not an adult." Love that. If you don't like coffee, you're not a grown up. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, TVM. I'm going to ring Halifax and tell them that I can't pay my mortgage this month because I'm not an adult and I don't like coffee, and see what they say. Guys, listen, on a serious note, it was a bit strange, wasn't it, yesterday? Because we're all sitting there. I think it was about 3 o'clock. It was about 3 o'clock because I know I was getting ready to go live for my member show at 4. And it was, Visser, Spurs want Visser. And it came out from one source and you go, oh, okay. And then Sammy Mockbell said it and then somebody else said it. And you're like, okay. And automatically all the WhatsApps are, this means we're not getting KUDUS and Daniel Bloody Levy. And then 2 hours later, we get tweets from people like Paul O'Keefe saying, a deal is nowhere near being done and blah, blah, blah. And then literally 15 minutes later from that, it was, here we go. And Ornstein saying exclusive. We've wrapped it up quick, guys. I'm going to ask the question. This is going to be Lubo's favourite question. Are we moving differently this window? Because he sacked a manager, paid out a manager, £7-8 million.
Yeah.
Then gone and spent 10 million to get Frank and his staff. So there's the best part of 20 million.
Yeah. Board
members have gone. Coaches have gone. A CEO's come in. We've gone and spent quite big already on KUDUS. Are we moving a bit differently, or is this just me hoping?
Well, when you put it like that, there is no argument, is there? We are moving. It appears we're moving differently. He spent 17 million on 2 managers, in compensation. And are we moving differently in terms of the managers? He's moved quickly. I think he realised he had to. There was no messing about. He had to move quickly as soon as possible after the parade, and then the transfer window is opening. So yes, he had to move quickly. He realised that, and I think that's probably where Vinay came in, and that's probably where he helped. The fact that he's been at Arsenal, he knows how it works. Is it any different in terms of transfers? Let you know, 5 o'clock, September the 1st. Let's answer it then.
So far, is it different?
So far, we bought 1 player, 2 players.
Yeah. But
is it different? Is it different? Is it different when you're comparing us to whom? Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool?
No, I'm comparing us to us. I'm comparing. Look, we always do this. We're not City. We're not Arsenal. We're not Liverpool. I still maintain we can't attract what they can attract. But for us, I
meant in terms of numbers, Sav.
Yeah.
Listen, we brought 2 in, haven't we? We brought the Japanese boy in, that's down to Frank, and also KUDUS. So listen, let's hope it is. I think I said on your show the other week, I think there'll be a lot of ducking and diving. I think there'll be a few players going, few players coming in. Frank's not going to have a massive budget to work to. No manager ever does. And let's see. Let's hope that we finish up with a really good transfer window and a competitive team for next season. I think he got shocked, didn't he? Finishing 17th.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah.
Massively. I mean, I've never seen, Lubo, to your point, I've never seen in a statement when a manager sacked for there to actually be stats in there. Do you know what I mean? It was in the sacking statement, it said we took this many points from this many games.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I might be wrong. I can't remember the last time I saw any chairman put that into a statement. Normally it's thank you or results didn't go away, but we actually said, hey, like, this is the reason the manager was sacked, right? He did this, he did that. So
And there lies the difference between Vinay and the previous director of communications, or who was in charge, who was
Donna
Donna
Cullen.
Cullen. Yep, there's your difference. You know, she was there for 25 years. She was director of communications for the best part of those 25 years. The information the club gave out to the fans was nothing short of disgusting, just disgraceful. They treated the fans like a piece of shit. And maybe Vinay has openly his eyes and said, you know what, Daniel, the fans are not just cash cows. They are proper fans. They are the guys that are bringing in X amount of money. You know, if he wants to talk to Levy in Levy's language. And so you've got to treat these guys with, you know, men and women with respect. So, you know, let's hope.
Ben, you know, same question to you. I mean, it's early doors. I don't want to go. I don't want to shoot from the hip and go, oh my God, Daniel Levy's reformed. But we don't normally move like this. We don't normally get that deal done that quickly and go to a rival and get a player. So are we seeing, is this a blip or are we going to see more of this?
I think we might see more of this because I think for the first time in a while, I think Spurs have a manager that actually speaks the language of the club in terms of Thomas Frank. Instead of the previous manager, he came out and said, I want Conor Gallagher. You're never going to get Conor Gallagher.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank has probably said, KUDUS, I can get something out of KUDUS. Oh, we can do a deal with West Ham if he goes to Brentford. I think I can get a Visser. These are players that are realistic to get and want to do a deal at the end of the day. At West Ham, they might see us as our rivals, and we are rivals with West Ham. They're going to still think, I can do a deal here. If the money's right, we can do a deal. Brentford, we can do a deal. To go to Chelsea, I want Chelsea's captain, who is an academy graduate, who's a Chelsea supporter. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. If it was Jared Bowen, I'd be like, you're talking absolute nonsense. It's never happening. I think Thomas Frank might actually speak the language of the Spurs board, which could be very, very bad, or it could be very, very good, because things will move quicker when you be like, okay, this is realistic. We can get this. We can do a little bit of this. We can do this. We can do this. If you immediately go, I want the best thing possible, it's never going to happen. And people are going to be like, oh, why can't we get this player? It's because, well, firstly, the player doesn't want to come. The wages are too expensive. This, and at least four of the, you probably have 5 things you need to get a transfer done. If you can get 3 or 4 of them, you're already like, okay, how do we get these 2 things? But you go to Conor Gallagher, none of the 5 stars are aligned. Whereas I think with the way Thomas Frank operates, he upskills players. If we go to, I want a Sander Berg. Okay, we can do a deal with Fulham for Sander Berg. What's the money? How much does he want? This, that. I think he wants realistic players that he think he can get through the door and things he can work with. Wisser is a perfect example. He's already upskilled him, and then he takes him to a bigger club. He's already done the work. He's already done the work at Brentford. Bring him in, make Solanke play better, because he's going to be like, shit, if I don't start scoring goals, I'm on the bench. So
no, I agree with you, and I think the interesting thing with the whole Conor Gallagher thing, he's a player I'd love, by the way. I think he's an all-action midfielder. I would understand wanting Conor Gallagher if he had left Chelsea and then was coming back, for example. I think there's somewhat chance, but you don't get Chelsea's captain directly out of Chelsea. Like it's crazy, isn't it? It's like saying right now, oh, do you reckon we could buy Declan Rice? Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous.
There's more of a chance of us buying Vinicius Jr. from Real Madrid than us getting Conor Gallagher from Chelsea. That's how little chance we've got. There's more chance of us buying Vinicius Jr.
By the way,
I would say there's probably more of a chance of us buying Lamine Yamal from Barcelona than it is to sign Chelsea's captain.
Yeah. Just quickly, don't shoot the messenger, but somebody sent me, I'm not mentioning names or anything, but somebody sent me that Lookman has been offered to Spurs.
I like Lookman.
At 40 million. So Lookman, Solanke, KUDUS, Madison. Just saying. It looks a lot better than Johnson, Solanke, Tell, doesn't it? Like it. Anyway, Dan, to wrap up this whole piece, obviously, we don't know if things are going to be different, but we are being linked now with players like Visser and KUDUS that we're being told these are Frank signings. We are told that these are the players that Frank wants. That for me makes a huge difference. That if we did go and get, let's move towards Visser. If we did get a Johan Visser in, that this is a player that Thomas Frank bought, upskilled, coached, and has turned him into a very, very good finisher. Does that make a difference for you if the player's played for the manager before and the manager wants him?
I think that definitely helps. I mean, on the things you said earlier quickly, up until yesterday, nothing had changed. It was Levy was being Levy and Spurs were Spurs. Nothing had changed. And I think we was all, if you want to say guilty, but we all had our fair reason of saying that. We get a good transfer in, it obviously hypes us up, gives you that kick sort of thing of like, right, that's good. Now let's take this further. I've already put that transfer aside. I want to see the next one. Some might say that's a greedy attitude.
No.
On the other thing as well with Frank, it's like I've said on other shows, Levy ain't changing. Levy ain't going. Levy, okay, he might adapt his way a little bit, but Daniel Levy is Daniel Levy over 25 years. We know what he is. So for me, the best thing you can do with it is like employing someone for a job. You get the person who is best for that job. And I think Frank is definitely one of the better managers because I don't think he'll give Levy any sort of stick to an extent. Levy don't like a man that can give him mouth back. I think he'll accept a majority of what Daniel Levy can give him and possibly turn down one or two or whatever else. But the thing he can do is I think Frank is the sort of manager who can adapt, one of the better ones out there, who can adapt to Daniel Levy's style, way of doing things. Right, I'm not going to get that player. I'm not going to get that player. Okay, I'll take on that one and I'll play with the cards I've got and make the most out of it and progress the players, not regress every player in the bloody team. I just think he's a very good choice of manager for the system we've got, for the way Levy is, for the way Spurs are. So what do? You go and get the manager in there that can do the best job with it. Even if he's another puppet to Levy, I still feel he's got the capability of adapting to what he has, playing with the cards he's got. So you go and get the manager in there that can work, whether it's in good terms or not, with Levy, basically. We've had other managers in there, they can't work with him. They couldn't do it his way. Conte couldn't, Mourinho couldn't, Ange couldn't, even though he did get us a cup. I just feel Frank is a manager who will say, okay, this is what I've got. I am now going to play this way to get the best out of this team. I'm going to adapt to this and this to get the best out of it. I just think he suits the situation very well. It's not a situation we want to be in, but like it or lump it, you're in it. Deal with it. Get on with it, basically. And I just think he's a very good manager that can handle Levy's style as such. And that's what we need. On the other bit, what you said with Visser, that one's not going to happen. Not in my opinion. He's too old. And what I mean by that is...
It's speaking the language, isn't it, Dan? It's speaking the language. It's like, I know I can't sell Savva a coffee because he hates coffee. I can certainly sell him a hot chocolate and maybe put a coffee in it, and he won't notice a thing because he'll taste
exactly.
You want to see the review I write on your website if you slip a copy into my hot chocolate, Ben. Trust me. You
will love it, Savva, because you'll be energized.
And Ben, you're right. It's just being able to play with the cards you've got. There's going to be other managers in here who are going to be as good as Frank or whatever else, but they just can't. My point is, I feel he can just adapt and deal with Levy's way and style. I'm not saying he'll even like it, but what do you go and do if you need a left winger? You go and get the best left winger you can for the job. If you want him to be able to cut in, then you get the one who cuts in and shoots better than the one who crosses. And I just think Frank is more capable of dealing with Daniel Levy's system as such. Whether we want the system or not is a total different story. I think it helps when a manager brings in a player that he's already played with. They already know each other. They've already worked with each other. And he basically knows 100% on what he's getting that player in for. Whereas you go and get a player in that you've never worked with, whatever, you're getting him in because you know why you want him there. But you've also got that hit and hope. Is it going to click? Is it going to work? When you've already played 100 games with them, 50 games with them, whatever, you already know each other. You already know the person. You already know exactly what he's there for and capable of and what he can give you. I just don't see Visser happening because he's too old for this Spurs system as such. Would I like to see him there? I ain't complaining.
Let me query that. So I've got to query that sentence. He's too old for this Spurs system. What system is he? Yeah, but what Spurs system is he too old for?
This so-called project that we seem to be going for, yeah? And it does seem to be like there is some sort of project or idea. I don't know if I've got the right word for it in project, but some sort of idea on how they want to do it. Go for the younger players, basically. When do you see Levy go out and get someone who's 29 or whatever? Now, I personally think it's good to have a couple of players who are older in your team, whatever else, and then let the younger players evolve around them as such. But again, each their own. And with this Spurs system, the way we seem to do it, I don't think Visser is the sort of person that we would go for, basically purely on his age. Whereas I would quite happily get him here.
28's not that old, Dan, for a striker, though.
He's 29.
Yeah, like we bought
28. He's 28.
28. Okay, I thought he was 29.
28.
Can I just ask though?
He's nearly. You're almost right, Dan. He'll be 29 in September. You're almost right. I'll give it to you. I'll go halfway.
Can I ask though, guys? Like, if we're gonna say that Thomas Frank, you said, speaks the club's language. You know, Thomas Frank said that he made certain demands in his meetings. Johan Lang said that this is on camera. Like they've said this. Johan Lang said that Frank made demands over certain players that he wanted. Might we see something different? Like I get it that there's no sell-on value if you bring in Visser and he stays till he's 31, 32. I get it, but if you are only paying 35 million for, sorry, I know that sounds crazy, and it's saying only 35, but if you are only paying 35 million pound for a guy that you're going to get 3 years out of, 4 years out of, I think for me, and Luba, I'd be really interested to know your view on this. I think it's a no-brainer. It's a striker who's getting better and better year on year. He's better than Solanke.
Better than Richarlison.
He's better than Richarlison. He knows Frank. So, like, he doesn't need to be coached by Frank in what areas to run into and blah, blah. Isn't this I say this a lot, Lubo, isn't this a no-brainer? Like, 1 year left on his contract. If ever there was a signing that was Levy and Spurs, it's this, right?
Yeah. I think Spurs have been linked with two strikers, haven't they? They've been linked with Vlahovic as well, because Juventus want him off the payroll, and he's on wages. They're offering him for. I think he's on offer for 15 million euros. The problem is his wages, which we know Levy won't pay. The other thing also is that he's not been a success at Juve that they were looking for, they were hoping to see. And for me, Visser is a success at Premier League level. So the whole thing we're short of. We were moaning the whole of last season. We need established players in the team. We were short, very short last year. You know, we got rid of several and we only bought Solanke 12 months ago. So for me, this is perfect. You know, the guy scores goals. You know, price-wise, you know, you're not talking about, you know, you look at, take Vlahovic out of the equation. Arsenal wouldn't pay 90 million. Was it 90 million euros for Sesko? You know, they're balking at the moment at the price that Sporting want for Gyökeres. So, you know, City paid 51, 52 for Haaland, but that comes with a massive wages situation. So for me, Visser,
he's only on $500,000 a week.
That's all. So from
it's with that one, Lubo, I believe the problem with that, I think Berta and Arteta are slightly arguing, because we all know that Mikel Arteta hates players with egos. All the players with big egos, he's kicked out the club. That's why he wants someone like a Sesko, who's going to have less of an ego, but is going to cost more. But someone like Gyökeres, you've seen what he's done. He broke up with his girlfriend because he wants to leave Portugal. And who does that? Who's got that much of an ego? Oh, no, I want nothing to do with Portugal now. I'm going to break up and I'm going. I'm getting rid of everything.
A multi-millionaire who knows he's going to have women throwing themselves.
He's got that much of an ego. He's willing to I'm going. I'll get another one when I'm in London.
Sorry,
he's treating his girlfriend like she's a Toblerone bar, for God's sake.
Sorry, Ben, did you say
I'll get rid of her? I'll go and get some Cadbury's.
Yeah, but Ben, if she doesn't want to adapt to the situation and that, this is my life, this is my style, like, are you coming with me? Are you staying here? Well, I don't want to
No,
go.
but the rumour is he wants nothing to do with Portugal anymore. That's the rumour.
Hang on, Ben.
Either way,
Ben.
he's got that right to do that. Maybe he doesn't want excess baggage coming with him, whatever, and wants to start again. Everyone's got the right to do that. It sounds a bit harsh, but
it's a bit going too far. But
Hang on,
Arteta
Ben.
doesn't like players with ego, so that's why he would like a Sesko who's more of a team player, whereas Gyökeres wants to be the guy.
Ben,
He's got an ego.
Ben, the girlfriend signed for Spurs ladies, hasn't she?
Has she?
I think so. I read reports that
Big
she
up
had.
to her.
So,
Big up to her.
That's obviously so. If he's kicked her into touch, it's because he's going to Arsenal. He won't have a Spurs playing girlfriend. You know.
or maybe he just got sick of playing at that club and wanted a new one.
I think the other thing also is that, you know, when a player starts to threaten to go on strike, I think then you've got issues.
But that's what I've said before, though, Ian, on the way it can be done when a player starts making
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's the right way to do things or whatever, but if you want things done in your life and you want things to happen in your life, sometimes you've got to make them happen. Now, I get he's not the one who's got the final say, this, and this, but this is why I debate other things where if a player wants to get a move done, there is certain stunts he can pull to get that move done. Now, some people have more moral than others and prefer to do it right than others. Some people basically don't care, and I will get what I want, come love nor money, and I don't really care who gets hurt in the process sort of attitude. When it comes down to it, it just depends on the person. I mean, look what KUDUS just done. Was that right that he blatantly put on there before the deal, I want to go to Spurs? Why he's a West Ham player? Isn't that basically sticking your finger up at West Ham and pushing for that deal to happen? About the only thing he didn't do was put in a transfer request. He went public and blatantly said, I want to go Spurs, to try and push this deal to happen.
It's a job, isn't it, Dan?
Exactly.
It's a job because I can only do it if I'm when I was working for other coffee shops. If someone headhunted me and said, "Do you want to? I'll pay you more to work for my coffee shop because you've got the skills to be my head barista," and then said, "But there's another head barista here, and you're only going to be like doing like other things," I'm gonna be like, no, I want to be the head barista. I think a lot of myself. I think I can do this. I'm a coffee roaster. I can do this. I can do that. I can do this. I want to be the guy. So KUDUS has obviously seen there's more of a chance of him playing first team football at Spurs because Chelsea seem to have like 17,000 wingers.
So Ben, were you the Sol Campbell of the baristas then? Before you started?
Oh no, I don't leave for free, Lubo.
I mean, other thing is with that is I heard Chelsea was interested in him. I don't know if they put a solid bid in for him. The question would be if they offered the same money, went in for the bid, where would he actually go? And this is a point I've tried making to people a few times. Yeah, I'll agree. 9 times out of 10, the person's going to go to Chelsea.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're going to get that player that sits there and puts it together in his own momentum. Right. If I go into Chelsea, I've got to fight tooth and nail every day to get into that team or even on that subs bench sometimes. The squad is massive. Yes, I'm going to get Champions League. Yes, I'm going to get money. Yes, I'm going to get this. But I've got to fight tooth and nail. He looks at Tottenham and says, right, I don't like that they finished 17th, but they've got a new manager now. They're in the Champions League. I think he's been in the Champions League with Ajax, hasn't he?
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
If I remember right. But he hasn't been in it recently as such. Yeah?
No.
And there's a chance he can weigh up his odds. And he turns around and says, do you know what? I walk into that Spurs team. I'm probably first pick on that Spurs team now. I get good wages on there. I'm going to get Champions League. I like the idea of the manager. Even though Chelsea are bigger and this and that, maybe I don't want to have to literally bend over backwards and break my back to get in the team every time and go over to that.
Most importantly,
now,
Dan, Thomas Frank will rotate, and that's even if he's not first choice, because of course we've got a player in Brennan Johnson that's got 25, 26 goal involvements last year, which can't be scoffed at. He's a goal scorer, so he's going to be right. Some games, Thomas Frank is going to. Some games, I'm going to play you here. he's going to get a good work-life balance because some games he's going to play, some games it's going to be Brennan Johnson, some
Majority
games
of the time, Ben,
and that's people want to manage their careers. People don't want to go to, like, let's say if you're a defender going under the previous managerial role, you know you're going to be facing your goal 17 million times a game, and your hamstrings are going to be torn off the bone. So he knows his career is going to be extended by the fact he's going to have some games. He's going to have a plan.
And this is what I mean by people are different. You can't judge everybody is going to make the same decision. Now, there's a lot of things you can turn around and say, yeah, 9 times out of 10 that'll happen. But there's always going to be that chance. And this is where I do feel Spurs should take more chances sometimes. We don't know whether they do or don't, but I can only go by what I see. Like, okay, we can't keep up with certain teams, but certain players do have a different mentality and a view on the world. Now, some would say with what I've just said, makes the player look like he's got no ambition. Okay, fair enough. Then I'll turn around and say Son had no ambition either. Because if he was as great as everyone says and a world-class player, he could have gone elsewhere to a much bigger club and everything and progressed his career tenfold over than what he'd done at Spurs. It depends what you want to call ambition. Maybe he just does not want to bend over backwards and break his back week in, week out to get on the subs bench, let alone in the bloody first team. And I don't
Players want to play. Players want to play.
Yeah, but then you'll get other players that just see the money and will go there blatantly for the money and don't really care if they're sitting on the subs bench or not. Again, that's what makes people unique. We all do. You will never find 2 people exactly the same. You'll find them similar, but I don't know if Chelsea went for him, whatever, and that. If they did go for him, would he have gone there? He'd already made it clear as day he wants to go Spurs, but we all know one big bid comes in from another side. But I don't think Chelsea would have been able to offer him the amount of football that we could offer him. And maybe, I mean, how old's he now? 24?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he's still got a career ahead of him as such. He might even just look on us as like, do you know what? If I go to Chelsea and it goes wrong there, my career's going to go backwards. I'm going to go to Spurs. It's highly unlikely I get it wrong there. I'm going to walk into that team. I'm going to get consistent football. I like it. I'm going to use this club as a stepping stone. Now, I know people ain't going to like that word, but he goes and has 3 solid seasons with us. Someone comes in, puts in a £90 million bid for him, and he's like, baked potato, see you later. I'm happy now.
Thomas
and
Frank's
he can progress his career from it. Yeah, and he can progress his career from there. Whereas you can go to a massive club, and we've seen players do it, and they just like absolutely fall to pieces on the club, and so does their career. And it's very hard to get it running again. So you can say for a couple of reasons why he might have come here or whatever. Did Chelsea even go for him? We don't know. But you are going to get that player that sits there and weighs it up different to another player. That it's not just all about being at that big club. It's about whether you can regularly play football at that club.
Well, the other thing also, Dan, is that, you know, there's only 17 spots for non-homegrown players. And Chelsea also have spent a lot of money, and I think they were trying to bring money in for Madueke, and they've asked Arsenal for 50 million, and Arsenal
unbelievable.
I know Arsenal balking at that. So had Arsenal bought Madueke and given Chelsea those funds, then there's probably every chance Chelsea would have made a serious bid. Then it's down to the player. It doesn't appear as though they did.
I was making crumpets. I'll get to the super chat.
He made crumpets for himself and not anyone else.
That's not. And you weren't making coffee to go with the crumpets either, or a hot chocolate.
And no, hang on. The wife's making a tea so that I can dunk my absolutely brilliant rich tea biscuits in. And before anyone asks,
one dips.
3 crumpets. One has Bovril on it. One has peanut butter, and the other one has peanut butter and jam on it.
Those two are forgivable, but I must say, biscuits and tea couldn't be more bland if you tried.
Oh, anyway,
at least have chocolate biscuits.
The problem with rich tea is you literally have 0.2 seconds before it falls apart in your teacup. So you have to be the Flash that you got to be like.
Yes. That's right.
Get a proper biscuit, Savva. Get something that's going to soak up your tea so you can still have a bit of a proper biscuit.
Yeah.
Rich tea.
Sav, any truth in the rumour that you're putting the burgers in crumpets and not in proper buns?
If you want it, we can make that happen. I love crumpets. So what have I missed then? You guys have talked about KUDUS and possibly the Chelsea link and that. Just aside from that, the Madueke transfer seems. I was watching Dan Potts' channel this morning, and if anyone hasn't, please do. Great creator, Football's 12 Man podcast, and I'm on there at 4:00 today. Really, really interesting. Like literally saying, don't mind Madueke was the they don't mind it if they also get Rodrigo, Eze, and Gyökeres. And said you can't complain because they've got, everyone keeps saying that Saka's played games and games and games. And then when you try and go and get somebody that can compete with him and that can be a backup, they're all complaining. As football fans, are we a bit too moany, guys? Are we a lot moany, a bit moany? Do we all expect the absolute world?
No, I don't think we do, particularly after the last 25 years. I think we're all, everybody, well, most people understand where we are. But just drifting back to Arsenal for a second, Sav, they've lost Jorginho and Partey for zilch. They've both come to the end of the contracts and gone. I don't see Arsenal bringing in any money at the moment for any outgoings. So they've spent 55 on Zubimendi, 5 on Kepa, that's 60. Who else have they bought? There's one or two others, isn't there?
Norgard for 10.
That's 70.
Then they've if they spend 50 on Madueke, if they spend 60 on Gyökeres, that's 150. That was it?
110 and 6 and 70. That's 180. Another 60 on Eze is 240. And they haven't sold anybody, have they?
Supposedly they're looking to sell Martinelli to Bayern Munich, but they're not going to get a lot of money in from Martinelli.
Wouldn't they have made a ton of money for finishing second 3 years in a row and a ton of money for reaching the semi-finals of the Champions League? Like they would have got a bumper bit of payout for those two competitions, right?
Yes, but they've spent. I think I read they've spent $1 billion under Arteta.
800 million, I believe it is.
800. Okay.
I think it's a bit more than that actually, because it was 800 million last season, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Frankly, I don't care how much they've spent. Frankly, if they get Madueke in, he's not going to play. What's the point of bringing in Madueke for 50 million quid? He's never going to get.
No, but he's a squad player, Ben, and you need, you're building squads today. You don't hear City say, well, what's the point of bringing him in? These guys go into a squad.
No, but they've got players that can compete with their top players. Madueke's never going to compete with Saka. He's never going to compete with him.
Ben, that is where sometimes you need to bring in a player that maybe hasn't got the same caliber as that player, but isn't a million miles off the drop either, who is willing to play as a sub player. Like I said earlier, some players are just more willing than others to do certain things. No, he's going to get some games out of it as such, because one thing they need to stop doing is burning out Saka, basically, because if they do that again, he's coming close to a career-threatening injury, quite possibly, the way they burn him out. You need a player that can come on for certain games where you can give him a rest.
Not only did they do that, but they played Saka while he was injured.
Either way,
with injections. So I mean, I don't understand. I mean, the amount of Arsenal fans that complain to me, why doesn't Arteta give him a rest? Why doesn't Arteta let him get over his injury? So you need that
player for a bit of cover then, don't you? Who's willing to play as more of the cover player.
But that's Madueke,
who better than Madueke is going to come in and be cover for Saka?
Exactly.
He's a perfect signing for them.
I think he plays right, left, right? Yeah. He's an England international. I get it. If he's the only signing after all this talk about Rodrigo and Eze and Gyökeres, I get it. But
that was another one. Arsenal fans think they're going to spend 120 million on Rodrigo as well. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Well, listen, all I know is this. Football fans, right? We all go, we want squad depth. Like Arsenal, we want squad depth. You're not going to have, unless you're Man City, you're not going to have a squad where every sub player is equal to the first team. Surely that's basic, isn't it? Like, yeah, you can have good players, but who has that sort of strength in depth? Do Liverpool? Do they have a Virgil van Dijk sitting on the bench?
It's the drop down, basically, what we complain about, isn't it? Because our drop down, like when we had Poch team and everything, if one of our main 11, bar maybe one or two, got injured, you went from a very good player
Sure.
to an okay player.
Walker
Whereas
rose to Trippier,
Arsenal-
Trippier and Davis.
Yeah, and apart from that, everything was basically a drop from a very good player to an all right player. Whereas Arsenal, what they've done there, they lose Savva They lose Saka, for instance.
Imagine losing Savva, Dan. Imagine losing Savva, how bad the world would
Savva's
be.
playing for Arsenal on the wing next year.
I was going to say, if you're an Arsenal,
how would you
if
treat
you're an
the
Arsenal
cover?
player, but they go and get Saka injured, the drop down isn't from an extreme. He's not world class, not in my eyes, not yet. But from a very good player to a good player, instead of dropping it down to an okay or an average or incapable player, basically. It's that drop down. You've got once you've got your solid 11, basically, you either improve the players on there, or the players you have to then bring in is to make it that the drop isn't so hard from there to there, basically. And that is one thing that has screwed us over the years, where it's been such a big drop from whoever we take off. I mean, why didn't we get a striker in many times? Oh, because nobody was really willing to come in as second striker, because they knew they weren't getting that Harry Kane pace come a million years. Or maybe we just didn't dig deep enough. But we did try a couple of times. And then other players on there, the drop was just too far. And with Arsenal doing this, I think 50 million's a bit much, but not my money. I don't think it's a bad bit of club business for them.
Are we noticing, though, that nearly everyone that moves that's a wide man, especially if you're English, they cost money? Like, I know as football fans, we all go 50 million's a lot, 60 million's a lot. It feels like this is the new 30 million.
Yeah.
You remember when everyone was a 30 million pound player? Now it seems that everyone who's wanted is a 50, 60 million pound player. Look, we'll move on from Arsenal. I want to talk to you guys about sorry, I did need to do these super chats and obviously go back to Paul Watkins about just for the record. I would absolutely love Visser. I think he gives a different dimension. I also think it allows you that if you want to play the two up top, you can have Dominic Solanke as the big guy and Visser as the smaller guy that scores the goals. I think he does give you options. I think he would be good for Solanke. He can also play on the left, on the right, or through the middle. Visser, for me, at 40 million, could be one of the best bits of business the club's ever done. He's got 1 year left on his contract. And a lot of talk is whether or not they'll let it go because of Man United's interest. And this deal feels like it's been dragging on forever. Imagine Levy was doing that Mbuemo deal, the pelters he'd be getting, right? Or the Gyökeres deal. So, Lubo, thank your lucky stars you've got Daniel Levy, all right? You thank your lucky stars.
Appreciate what you got.
He's got 1 year left, and I think there's lots of reports saying, they won't want to lose both players. The problem you've got is, let's say Mbuemo goes first. Let's say Mbuemo goes this week. Someone like Visser's going to look around, isn't he, and go, well, hang on, the manager's gone. Flecken's gone. Norgard's gone. Mbuemo's gone. Now, I'm either the main man, I can stay and be the main man, or hang on, I want to go and play for Thomas Frank at a bigger club in Tottenham Hotspur. So, did you guys see this deal happening, or is this maybe a smoke screen for something else? Do we see it happening?
They've got to move quickly, because at some stage United are going to offload one of those 4 or 5 strikers that they're trying to get rid of to raise the money to buy Mbuemo. And if we can move quickly and get Visser over the line, then United lose Mbuemo, don't they? Or Mbumo, I think his name's pronounced.
Out of question then, if this falls apart for Man U, because to me it's looking like there's a possibility it could, because it is starting to take significant time, because it's obvious they need to get rid of some players. So if that falls apart, do you think there's any chance that we might go hunting for him, basically?
For Mbuemo?
Yeah, because I could see this series is starting to drag
now
on.
We've done KUDUS.
No?
I can't see it. Not now we've done KUDUS. They both be playing off the same side, right? It's not for me.
He's also said
I wouldn't say no.
No, he's also said that if he doesn't go to United, he's staying at Brentford. So he's told everybody what he's doing. So
I just want to slate Savva's biscuit choice because you can see him. He's worried about his biscuit falling apart. Whereas I've got an apple pie flavoured biscuit and you can dunk it all day long and it's not going to fall apart.
Sorry. An apple pie flavoured biscuit.
Yeah. Cinnamon.
What madness is this?
Delicious. Lovely chunks of apple in it. Cinnamon.
It sounds banging.
Yeah, lovely. Oat apple pie flavoured biscuits. Delicious.
Yeah. To all the listeners, welcome to Celebrity MasterChef on
there
YouTube.
It is. Lovely chunk of oats, handmade. Lovely chunks of apple in it. I love apple pie. So.
Apple. So now we're going away from having a sweet biscuit snack, and now you've got like a kind of salad version of a biscuit. Oh, what? That's not a biscuit.
And they're massive as well. They are absolutely massive.
Oh yeah, big old biscuit. Anyway, back to Johan Visser.
Are we after Gordon Ramsay for the 6th spot now?
I reckon he'd do a job. He'd definitely shout at a few, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting. Is there a world in which is there a world in which Mbeumo stays because we get Visser first? If they only want to lose one, Tottenham could knock out Man United from that and therefore strengthen our position to finish above them by
as well as sue them as well as we're suing them.
Oh, we are suing them. What are we suing them for again?
Because Jim Ratcliffe pulled because Ineos Grenadier was sponsoring Spurs at one point, and because Jim Ratcliffe pulled the sponsorship, Spurs want that money for the sponsorship. Basically,
11 million.
Yeah.
So what's that for again?
Because they sponsored the club, and because he bought Man United, he was no longer allowed to sponsor Spurs. So he pulled the sponsorship deal without paying out.
Basically, cut the contract. Cut the contract without paying
Spurs out. No, you've got a contract. We signed it. You've got to pay the contract out now.
Yeah.
So we're going to beat Man U in the final, sue them, and stop them getting Mbeumo. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
And beat them in a European final.
Yeah. And 3 times previously.
Who's complaining?
Just another reason, Lugo. Just say Levy in.
Are you okay? What are you on this morning?
He's on Bovril.
Tea biscuits.
He's on Bovril.
I mean, Ian, it's business at the end of the day, what he's doing. And
of course it is.
He's a bloody good businessman.
Dan, if Ineos are in breach of contracts, Levy's got everything going for him. And Ineos know that if they don't pay the 11 million, then they're in for big legal fees and possibly court costs as well. So,
well, if that goes to court, full stop, whoever loses the court case is paying the lot. And when it's a court case like that, you can add another 4 million onto the deal, basically.
And it doesn't help that they're not selling Ineos Grenadiers either. They can't shift them. Because they're too expensive.
What are the Ineos Grenadiers?
Basically, the Ineos Grenadier is Jim Ratcliffe's version of an old school Land Rover.
I see. Okay.
So, no, I'm not a vegan. Am I a vegan whilst drinking cow's milk?
Who would you rather have, guys? If I offered to you, I don't care about salary talk. I don't care about. If I offered you right now, Spurs can either sign Dusan Vlahovic or Johan Visser.
Visser.
Yeah, same for me.
We all complain about how bad Solanke is, apparently. I don't... devil's advocate, Vlahovic has only had one good season in Serie A.
Has he?
I wouldn't say he's... No. I wouldn't say he's only had one good season.
I've got his stats in front of me. They're
not great, is it?
Not as bad as
he hasn't...
Not for a player earning 300... Not for someone earning 300,000 euros a week.
But Ben, he's had more than one good season. For me, with him, is at Fiorentina, he was good, starting to look very good, and there was a lot of potential there, and you could see there was a good player there. When he went to Juventus, and then got that injury as well, which done him no favours, he's had a good season, and others have been okay, but I don't think he's only had one good season. It's just I don't think he's quite gone up to his potential of what he looks like.
He's not hit that level though since he's been. He's not had that season he had at Fiorentina. At Fiorentina,
Could that be, the team he's playing for, Ben. Like, listen, you
their style of play
you like your
suited him
Italian
either.
stuff. You know you're Italian. You both know you're Italian football. When I watch Juventus, certainly not so much in the last few months they've changed manager, but certainly for the last few years it's been very rigid, very defensive. Not really a lot going into him.
Maybe it'll work because he has been under Allegri, and of course he had Thiago Motta last year. They had more draws than IKEA, but a top number 9 can play in any sort of system because you're the number 9. He's not really shown that he's on that level of what a big club like Juventus, and it's one of the things that Dan said about KUDUS. He's gone to the big dogs, and now his career is only going to go backwards. Whereas what KUDUS has done, he's going to Tottenham, he's going to upskill himself, and then he's going to go up. He's gone too far too quickly, going from Fiorentina to a Juventus, who are the biggest club in Italy. They are. We
acknowledge, right? They're two very different types of strikers. But let me show you. So this is Vlahovic, right? This is. By the way, I'm not arguing for him. I'm just playing devil's advocate on both players. Yeah, as a good host should do, Ben Kaufman. I'm just playing devil's advocate. So you can see there. So look, when he was at Fiorentina, look, the last 2 seasons at Fiorentina, he had brilliant output, right? If you look at it, he got 21 in 40 in that season, which is brilliant. And then the following season, across 2 halves a season for Juve and Fiorentina, he played 36. He played 45 and got 29. So before he went to Juve, really, really, really top strike rates. At Juve, if you take out the 9 and 21, all right, 14, then 18, then 17, I feel like it's not like these numbers aren't dreadful.
But they're not at the level you expect from a striker earning 300 grand a week.
Sure, I agree with that part.
But if you're earning 300 grand a week, I'm expecting 20 goals a season.
Sure, but forget the salary for 1 minute. Let's just assume if he came to Spurs, he's not going to be on that money, right? Let's just assume, all right? I think it's a safe assumption.
He'd still be at the club's top earner. He'll be on £210,000 a week. That's what he's asking for. 210 grand a week.
He is all round much better than Solanke.
I expect him to be for that money.
No, sure, but on that metric, then, if he was offered to you at 15 million, or there's a lot of rumours as well that Juventus might just rip up his contract. If he's offered you,
that would make his wage more expensive, Savva. If he was a free transfer, his wages would go up even more. Sure. And then you'd have the sign-on fee as well. You'd have to pay him because of the sign-on fee. So it'd work out about the same.
Sure, but you know when I said I want to start this conversation without talking about wages, and now all you've done is talk about his wages, right? As a player, who are you picking, him or Dominic Solanke up front?
I would still pick Vlahovic, but there are those external factors. The reason I would say I would rather have Wissa is he's Premier League proven. Yep. The money is right. The wages are right. It's a Tottenham Hotspur signing. Again, this is back to Thomas Frank speaking the language of the club. I think Wissa suits us because he's much more versatile. Whereas I think Vlahovic has. I'm not going to call him a one-trick pony. But Solanke has an ego that he wants to be a number 9 scoring goals. He wants to be the hitman. Whereas I think Wissa will fit into that team mold. I think we need players that make the team rather than egos that you already have a team and then you put the ego in front of the team and that team feeds the ego.
What if I said to you, Wissa? So people in the chat are getting really annoyed that we say Vissa. Sorry, Wissa. What about Wissa on the left, Vlahovic through the middle, and KUDUS on the right? You happy with that front three?
Yeah.
I ain't complaining about that. I think one thing you need to look at though, Ben, is what you said earlier, a top striker can play any way. No, I totally disagree. Some players can only play their way or in one of 2 styles as such. A lot of our players proved that this year. But when they play that way, they'll be excellent. but they just can't adapt to other ways, or they haven't got the physicality to play other ways. When you're just a little poacher in the box, let's go back to Defoe, for example. You ain't playing as a target man, even if you want to. You ain't doing it because you just have not got that physical capability of what is needed off a target man. He's not going to be that man who runs into the box and heads the ball in the back of the net. Why? Because he just cannot do it. But that doesn't not make him a top striker. Some players are more versatile than others, I think is the word, isn't it?
Versatile is the word.
Yeah, whereas other players, they're brilliant at what they do, but they're only brilliant in that way because they just cannot play any other way.
If he comes in, I'm going to be happy, but he's got to earn the right to have that specialism. He's got to earn the right to have that specialism in this first team.
Again, it would depend how we play him. I don't think the way Juventus has played has done him no favours as a player as such. Same as I'll say the same with Solanke. I still think he's a pretty average player, if I'm going to be honest, but I think Frank adapts to the situation to work around the players better. This is what I've said for such a long time now. You go and get your players and you get them each playing to what they are best at, you will definitely see significantly better out of the team.
That's the point of a good manager.
Yeah, and with some players, you can mess about a little bit. And, okay, I'm not going to get a 9 out of 10.
We will see more of Solanke next year.
Hang on a sec. But if I play him that way, I'll get at least an 8 out of 10 out of him as such, which isn't such a massive drop from playing someone inverted, whereas in overlapping, you're getting 8 out of 10. Inverted, you get a 5 out of 10, basically. And I think Vlahovic, as a player, as a striker, has got more capability than Whistler. I think he's better. I think he's got more skill. I think he's more solid in the air. I think he's better on his feet. But can he adapt as much as Whistler? And then you also talk about it with the Premier League experience, which is a good point, because that is one question where I do question Vlahovic. I don't personally know. I mean, he's not a small fella in that, but I just don't know if the Premier League would sort of be his style of football as such. Because you don't get as much time on the ball. You don't get... It gets a lot rougher. I mean, in Italy, it's one of the slowest leagues, but the most tactical league on the planet.
I don't believe it's rough. I think it's weak as chips over here at the moment, and I don't think it's rough at all.
It's rougher than the Italian league. Let's just put it this way, because the Italian league, you don't really get the consistent tackles coming in. You've got a lot more time on your feet because it's a lot more tactical. So maybe rougher might be the wrong way to put it.
Better than Vlahovic, Dan. I mean, this is blasphemy, isn't it?
It's a different. It's a different skill set.
Yeah, until you see, he's a significantly more capable player than Whistler or Solanke, in my opinion.
He should be. He should be.
Yes, but bring him in the Premier League. Is he going to be able to adapt and play that Premier League way as such with more tackles coming in on him? Rougher might have been the wrong word, but instead of getting
there's less tactical fouls. Tactical fouls. There's going to be less. There's going to be less players like a Chiellini scything you down for absolutely no reason, just because they can.
Is this conversation academic because of his wages?
Savva asked about the wages.
Lugo, you and I had a phone call, didn't we, the other day when I was patio?
Sexy.
Do you remember? Do you remember I said I've got to watch the patio before the wife comes home and beats me?
Yeah, that's right. Correct. That's right.
Just getting some brownie points. See, I do the jobs.
She bought you an extra. She bought you an extra rich tea.
Extra pack of rich teas.
If you work just a bit harder, Savva, you can have some hobnobs.
Do you know what? This is how our relationship works. If I do something well, I get a pack of rich teas in return. It's brilliant. Lubo, you said to me as well, though, like, yes, in theory, if we're talking about his current salary, then yes, it's absolutely academic because he's on what, 350,000 euros, something like that. Yeah. Right. But like you said to me, if you get the guy on a free, you can offset the wages with a signing on fee. And there are lots of reports that Juventus are going to rip up his, reports, I don't know, biggest word in football, but if they did rip up his contract, Lubo, you can give him a 10, 15 million pound signing on fee, which offsets most of your salary, right? So
if he's on, say, make it easy, if he's on 150 against 350, 200 grand a week, 10 million, 10.4 million, if it's a 4-year contract, that is a £41.6 million loss in effect for what he.
That's
for what
where
he's
you
earned.
give him a bigger sign-on fee, isn't it, to make up for it? So say you would have given him 8 million, as you ain't going to pay those wages, I'll now give
That's
you
right.
16 million to sign on, which covers the wages you don't pay. That's what a lot of teams do.
So, well, they're not going to pay. They're not going to give him a signing on fee of 20, 30 or 40 million, are they?
It's
That's
a
for
figure
sure.
of speech. I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
saying
no,
it's
of course,
what a lot
of
of teams do to cover the wages that
But
they
you know
ain't
what,
willing to
Dan?
go above.
Dan, if Frank knows Visser, and we're coming from a position of 17th, you know, that why are we taking a risk? It's an unnecessary risk. You know, when Bale was sold, we bought 7 players.
Mhm.
Don't think any of them were English players. We bought Lamela, we bought Ericsson, we bought Paulinho, we bought Kirikesh. There's 4. There were 3 more.
Underrated, Vlad Kirikesh. Underrated, Lubo.
Great goal
Not-
against Fulham.
I mean, Lamela was like he was a great goal against Fulham. Lamela was like glass. Ericsson was the only one out the 7 that actually came through. So you know, and you were buying players with no Premier League experience. I don't see why we need to
get
take
that.
risks. Why take
But
risks?
Ian, what's the biggest thing you always complain about with Levy? One of the biggest things.
Yeah, Lubo.
Go
Yeah.
on.
That he doesn't take no risks. So to dare is to do. Make your mind up, because in a lot of ways you
No.
complain that
There are
Levy don't
calculated
take
risks and
risks.
silly
No,
risks.
that's right. Correct. What I'm saying is that if you've got a player that is established in the Premier League, Arsenal didn't look on it as a risk to go and spend 105 million on Declan Rice. Levy would look at that and think, "Oh, that's a bit of a risk." Wait, I'm
Bit of
talking.
a difference on the amount of money.
Well, I'm talking about apples and oranges here, purely from the fact that Visser knows the Premier League and Vlahovic doesn't.
Oh, I agree with that part. Yeah,
and that's my metric when I'm talking
okay.
when I'm talking about not taking a risk.
Then look at
That's
it
what I'm
this way.
talking about.
We've said that Whistler is basically coming on 29. Yeah.
Yeah.
In September, right? 35 million for him, whatever. Okay, he's got Premiership experience. He's got experience with a manager, and there's a lot of positives to weigh on that. But you're not going to get a penny back off him, whatever else. Are his wages going to be stupid? I highly doubt it either. But then let's go to Vlahovic. Champions League experience at a top team, proven that he is a very good and capable striker when you get him playing the right way that suits him. How much his wages are going to be absolutely stupid. That is going to be a bit that hold it back.
Yeah.
He's also got to travel over to the Premier League as well, that I get. But in that aspect, he's only 15 million. And how old is he now? 26?
Who?
I don't know.
Vlahovic.
You have to look. I don't know. I don't know.
I can't remember exactly.
There you
I mean,
go. Dusan Vlahovic is 25. He's 26
It's
in
25.
January.
Right.
Okay.
So we go and spend the 15 million on that. For me, it's a bit of a risk worth taking because he's got a lot of experience, a lot of international experience. He's got experience in big league. He's got experience in playing at a big team. He's got experience in Champions League. Okay, the wages are going to weigh it down. Is he going to handle the move over here? Because some people, they just can't handle the move over to another country. Some people just don't like how wet England is, basically. But if it didn't work for him over here, and say he goes 2 seasons, only scores 10 goals, 15 goals, whatever. Right. He's then 27. We can still sell him on and make that 15, 20 million back. Whereas Whistler, whether he plays quality or not, we're not getting a penny back on it. Not that particularly bothers me in any way, but I'm talking about it how Tottenham work. So if you look on it from Vlahovic, if it goes wrong, you get your money back off of him.
Dan, should the question then be, would you take both rather than do you want Visser or Vlahovic?
You can ask that all the time, Ian, and it's a solid point, but we don't. It's all good of what should be at Spurs, the word we do use all the time, but it don't. It just don't happen like that. Because I agree.
Because for me, you look at Liverpool. Last season, they had Salah, Nunes, Gakpo, Jota, and who was the other one? There was a 5th striker, wasn't there? Can't think.
But we ain't Liverpool, Ian.
No. But But hang on, we work on the same rules as Liverpool. We make as much money as Liverpool. Why can't we have more than one or two strikers?
Then Ian,
Wouldn't it be
our
great
club.
to get rid of both of ours and get those two in? Imagine you said our two options
be
each
happy.
week are Vlahovic and Wissa, right?
I'll snap that up all day long.
I'd
But
be
we're only going to
perfectly-
go one or the other.
happy.
It's what we do at Spurs. And this
That's
is why I
right.
said with Thomas Frank earlier, being able to play with Daniel Levy's way and that, yeah? So with everything I've said there, the fact of the way Levy's going to look at it, whatever else, I think the wages are the main things that would hold him back or hold us back from going for him. But I think there's, to an extent, on some sides, there's more positive on Whistler. But on other sides, I think there's more positives on Vlahovic for if it does go wrong, it's fixable. You can get your money back. You can do. There's different aspects
Can I just say,
on the sides.
before we move on, because I've only got 5 or 10 minutes left of the show because I'm joining another show, but I do think one thing we write off a lot as football fans, we write off that anybody that's had a bad year or having a bad time at a club is that they can never, ever resurrect their career. They can never come good again. They never get a new lease of life. And I feel like if we relate this to ourselves, surely we've all had that job where it's crap. We hate it and we're not ourselves and we're moody and we're miserable. And you move somewhere else and suddenly everything about your life is better. You're happier. You wake up happier. You spring out and do things. I feel like when we talk about, Vlahovic at Juve didn't, we did it with like Grealish. Grealish is gone at Man City. And you're like, well, hang on. Surely for some of these players, right, a change of scenery, something new, a new coach, new ideas, new surroundings. Isn't that what human nature is? Like, I feel like we write it. If we go by how most Spurs fans talk about footballers, we can only get players who are at the top of their game for their current club. And if you're only going for the top of the game players at their current club, you're going to be paying massive, ridiculous massive fees and massive wages. I just wanted to put that out there. Not as a talking point, just as a statement, really. On the super chat front, big up to KUDUS, who said Lubo is the type of guy to join a Football Heritage TV stream during his son's wedding ceremony. He'll mute himself, then place the camera on the floor during the vows. Lubo.
That sounds like a good hooper. That sounds like a good hooper.
Is little Lubo married?
No, he's not. He's a single boy.
Oh, I'll tell him to stay that way for as long as possible.
That's quite funny. That's
big
funny.
up KUDUS. Thank you very much.
Welcome to Spurs, KUDUS. Welcome to Spurs, KUDUS.
Welcome to Spurs.
Ian, before you get the, let's say it nicely, platinum handcuffs, yeah?
I'll come back to Rob's one. Big up to Craig Scott, General Tracks. And as I said yesterday, I really hope that General Tracks is like a DJ name. I hope he's like, DJ General Tracks. I really hope it is. Said defo a no-brainer. He will help educate Frank's ways up front. So I think he's talking there about Wissa. By the way, breaking news on Sky is that Arsenal have completed the signing of Christian Norgard for £15 million. There you go. Breaking 2-year deal, 15 million. Sensible signing. Big up to you, General Tracks. Big up to you. And Rob Welsh has said, settle something. Oh, okay. Demanding things from us. Was Ozil world class? I say no. Not me. That's what Rob said. I don't know where this is coming from, guys, but Mesut Ozil world class?
Moments, but not a world class player. I mean,
Sure.
some of the passes he pulled off at Real Madrid and at Arsenal were world class, but consistency and everything else, no, he was not. But he had world class moments. Relate him to Romero.
In his pomp at Real Madrid, who was also at the time playing well? You had players like Schneider was well. I think Schneider at that time was world class at Inter. Then you had players
Schneider got booted because he didn't deliver at Real Madrid and then went Inter and then came up a level again.
You'd have to think of who was playing at the time. I believe only 3 players in each position are world class. That's my definition of world. The top 3 players in the world in a position are what are considered world class. So at one point you had Drogba, you had Rooney, and you had I can't think of strikers. They were world class at the time. At that time, was Ozil in the top 3 number 10s at the time?
No.
I don't think so.
Ozil, I'll just put it quickly. For me, he's another Romero. On his day, he gave some world-class performances and passing. Simple as that. But there was not enough of it. There was not enough consistency in it to call him a world-class player. But he had world-class games and also world-class international
World-class
games.
passer. But you can give it like Sonny's a world-class finisher, but I wouldn't call him a world-class footballer.
Exactly.
Was a world-class passer of the ball. I don't think in other parts of his game were necessarily world-class.
And same as Romero. He's had world-class games, but he's not a world-class player because he's not consistent enough. I put him on the same sort of thing as Ozil, basically.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Lubo. For me, I would say, here you go. Make a statement. I think Ozil had world-class ability. I think he was a world-class talent. I don't think he was consistent enough over his career to say world-class. For me, he falls into the level below. Very good footballer. Walks into most teams, top ability. But I think when a player goes missing so much, I can't call them world-class. So I'm going to say the next level down from world-class for me. Lubo, Mesut Ozil.
Yeah, fair comment. I'll go with that with you and Dan.
Yeah, I think we all agree on that. I don't know where the Ozil conversation come from. And I saw my mate Matt. Matt, I love you so much. He said, I'm so glad that Norgard went to Arsenal and he's not coming to us. I can only begin to imagine why you wouldn't want to play like Norgard in our midfield. I don't get it. But hey, each to their own. I definitely like him in my squad. I think he's a good footballer. He's a captain. He's experienced. Consistently performs. Yeah. He also doesn't want John McGinn, who I'm hearing rumours this morning of Everton might be looking at John McGinn.
I heard that last night.
I'd take John McGinn.
Shouldn't we be going for him then? Shouldn't we have a look at him? Because Savva, we've said this for a while, he's one who I'd snap up. Because I think he's got a lot in midfield of what we need as that dirty strongman who can do a DM job, but also do the same sort of job from a centre mid job. I'd snap him straight up. Dan,
I just want us to sign him purely to piss Matt off. That's the I want us to sign John McGinn, and I want Thomas Frank. I want Thomas Frank on day one to announce our new player and captain, John McGinn, and just to piss off Matt. Listen, I am going to leave it there, by the way. I will quickly go to thank you, Rob, for your super chat. Big up to my man Aris, who I believe that's Australian dollars. So there are Aussies that do like me. If I fly to Australia on a holiday, I feel like I'm going to be allowed in certain places and not in others because of my my angepostecoglou love
phobia.
Yeah, my angephobia. Yeah, angephobia. That's a good word. Big up to Aris. Always very, very generous. Just sticking in $8 there. Really, really appreciate you, my man. Thank you very much to everybody today. Be very generous on the super chats. Very generous on the subscribers as well. Aris saying that I can stay with you. Big up, Aris. If I ever come to Australia, I will come and stay with you. Where are you? Where are you in Australia? I'll see if I can book a flight. Matt thinks I'll need 24/7 security. Do you know what? Just before I go, guys, because I do have to jump on to Never a Foul, and I'm sending you all over there. So please say Savva Raid when you get there. I do want the guy on my show. Who is it? The mayor in Australia. The mayor in Australia that did the interview saying that he really hopes Daniel Levy reconsiders his position on Angepostecoglou and rehires him. I really want to interview
the mayor of Melbourne or something like that.
Yeah.
I think he's got more things to fix in Melbourne rather than Tottenham Hotspur's football manager. Just saying.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say he's got better things to do than come on my podcast. There's no way he's got better things to do, Ben, than come on and talk about rich teeth. Listen, Danny, thank you very much. Go and stroke those tarantulas. Thanks. Good lad. Ben, go down the shop, get yourself some proper biscuits, not some crap with oats and apple in them, mate.
Both you and Perchy are stinker and hooked. You are the Dominic Solanke of biscuits. Rich tea, boring.
Bland, bland.
Biscuits. That's what you should be called. Boring biscuits. Got to be up there, Savva. You're going to be up there.
Just quickly, do you want to know what Perchy messaged me about 15 minutes ago?
He messaged me as well.
Is it the Ben's biscuit is utter woke nonsense?
Stinker and
we
Hook,
all love
Perchy.
Perchy.
Stinker and Hooked. You are officially the Dominic Solanke of biscuits.
Right, I've got to go. Lubo, go and treat your wife to some nice Portuguese wine and a Portuguese meal, and try and get a tan. For the love of God, man, get a tan. Come on. Come on, get a tan. I know you're English, but get a tan, mate. Come on. Listen, guys, I'm going to go over to Never a Foul. Please, when you get over there, say Savva Raid. I'll be back at 3 p.m. on my own channel for a transfer show, not a Spurs show. And then we've got a live call-in show tonight at 9 for Spurs fans. Big up to you all. Please go and subscribe to the Calfee Company as well. Please subscribe to the Hotspur Hood, and please follow Lubo on X. At Lubo_61. Take care, guys.
Don't forget
Much love.
Tottenham on tour as well. Tottenham on tour as well.
And Tottenham on
Close to
tour.
9,000 subscribers. So get over to Tottenham on tour.
Go play.
Get over there, subscribe. I'll see you on Never a Foul. Don't forget to say Savva Raid. Take care. Much love. And as always, Lubo is leaving.